Boo! It's me, Gwen, coming to you from my bedroom. Well, today's story, happy Thursday. Today's story will be about this beautiful young lady who wore this beautiful mask. No one could see her eyes. No one. See what's behind the mask. She didn't want anyone to know what's behind the mask. Why? That's a long story. The most important thing is that there was a ball, and she wanted to go to this ball. And she said, Mommy, I have to go to this ball. And her mom said, Of course, you may go. Under one condition. She says, Sure, anything. You take off your mask. Her mom says, I know what's behind the mask, but it's time other people learn too. And she says, No, I'm not taking off my mask. I'm going to leave it on forever and ever. So her mom said, Okay, I'll get you the tickets. However, make a deal with me. Right before you take your last dance at the ball, you must remove the mask. She says, Okay, I'll do it, Mom. So she goes to the kitchen the next morning and she's eating her big bowl of Cheerios. You love Cheerios. I know I love Cheerios. You love Cheerios. We all love Cheerios. Cheerios! She starts to eat her Cheerios. She pours the milk in and then she starts eating it. And she's sitting there. She's like, the ball is tonight and I have to take off my mask. And she's like, I don't want to take it off. I love this mask. The only time I take it off is when I need to take a shower, when I need to brush my hair, or when I need to brush my teeth. I don't want to take this mask off. She pouts. Her mom looks at her and says, Honey, you need to take the mask off. I want you to have friends. I want you to have a nice life. But people are a little scared and a little intimidated by you. Intimidation. She says, intimidated by me? How can people be scared of me? I'm just a little girl with a mask. So she says, Okay, Mom, I'll do it. I'll take the mask off right after my last dance. So she goes to the ball. She's got on her beautiful purple gown. And she walks in and she's like, I am the belle of the ball. Everyone looks at her and they're waving. A lot of her friends from school are waving. No one has a mask on. She's the only one. She walks in. She's like, dance with me. And the men, everybody dances with her. Boys, girls, everybody dances together. She goes, she gets punched. She eats the cake. Finally, they said, this is the last dance of the ball. And she's like, uh-oh. She looks around the room. She's like, after this dance, I have to take off my mask, but I don't want to. I don't want to. Oh, God, I'm so scared. She's scared. So she runs to the bathroom. She runs into the toilet. She sits on the toilet seat. She's not peeing. She's not pooping. She's just sitting there. Have you ever sat on a toilet seat without peeing or pooing? Just sit there. She's thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking. And finally they say, the last song is almost over. This is your last dance, your last chance to take this night into your own. Make it your own. It's your last dance. She gets up out the bathroom. She walks out of the bathroom. A girl says, Hey, you didn't wash your hands. That's nasty. She turns over and looks at the lady. Hey, lady, I didn't use the bathroom. I just sat there. And she says, You know what? I'm taking this mask off right now. I don't care. She takes off the mask. And when she does, the girl looks at her. She's like, Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's you without your mask. She says, Wow, you have beautiful eyes. And she says, I do? She says, Yeah. You should take off your mask more often. She says, Okay, I will. She walks into the room. Everyone's dancing. They turn around, they look at her, and everyone waves. They're like, Hey, you took off your mask. All her friends at school are like, Wow, you finally took your mask off. No one can believe it. They're like, Wow, your gown looks really great with your hair and your eyes. And everyone's complimenting her so much. She's like, Wow, why didn't I take it off sooner? So later on, she gets home that night. Mom looks at her and says, How did the ball go? Did you take your mask off? Because she walks in with her mask back on. She says, Actually, it went pretty well. And yes, I took the mask off. Better than I expected. Her mom says, She says, Well, okay, good night, honey. She says, Okay, good night. She goes to sleep. Wake up! I'm up. I know, you always say wake up. She gets up the next morning, she takes her mask off, she washes her face, she brushes her teeth, she plays in her hair, she puts on her earrings, she fixes her jewelry, and then she puts her mask on top of her head and she does not pull it back down. She sits down, mom hands her a bowl, she dumps the Cheerios back in the bowl, pours the milk, eats her Cheerios, and her mom looks at her. Her brother looks at her. Her dad looks at her. Even the dog looks at her. They all look at her and they're like, she's like, what? You act like you haven't seen me without my mask on. What? And that's the end of that story. I know you're all saying, what? That's such a short story, Quinn. We need another one. All right, one more story. So there's the girl with the mask on. We'll tell another story about the girl with the mask. Should we? What do you guys think? What would you like to hear? Superman? Can't hear you. Dragon Boy. Dragon Boy's for tomorrow. Today's Thursday. Dragon Boy's on Mondays and Fridays. We'll do Dragon Boy tomorrow. Today, we're going to tell the story about a young, beautiful prince. Prince's name was named Prince Aaron. And Prince Aaron, he was the most handsomest prince in the whole world. He was young, he was bold, he was everything. So anyway, he also was a little bougie. Well, I don't say bougie, he was not a very nice person, which meant he would go walk into the market and he would say, it stinks in here. Oh, this grocery store stinks. It smells like fish. I cannot shop here. He would go walk into a restaurant, and if it didn't meet his expectations, he would say, we're not eating here. People walk up to him and say, oh, Prince Aaron, please give us some. Can we please have a quarter, Prince Aaron? Please, I want a soda, please. And he'll look at them and say, you peasant, you filthy peasants, get away from me. He was not a very nice person. So one night, Prince Aaron was in his castle. It was raining hard. It was thundering and lightning and flashes of lightning, flashes and thundering. It was a very scary night, put it that way. Anyway, an old woman knocked on Prince Aaron's door. He had this huge castle. So all the servants were, of course, were asleep. He was up in his study. He heard this door knock. He's like, servants, get the door. Boom, 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 boom. Somebody knocking. Servants, get the door, please. Boom, boom. None of the servants were around. So Prince Aaron went and got the door. Of course, he was upset. Very upset. Someone's going to pay for this. Me answering the door. I'm a prince. He walks to the door. He opens the door slowly. It creaks. There's a little old woman standing there. She only has one eye. Her face is wrinkled. Her hair is gray. And she's short. And she's standing there. And she's got a cane in her hand. And it's pouring raining. She looks at the Prince Aaron and she's shaking. She's like, Prince Aaron, please, let me stay here for the night. Please, I'll sleep on the floor. I'll sleep anywhere. Just please let me in for the night. Prince Aaron looks at her and says, you filthy servant, no. And she's like, but it's raining. It's cold. And I'm so far away from home. And I'm scared and alone. Please, Prince Aaron, please let me. His servants were even standing close by the door, and they were like looking. They couldn't believe their eyes. They thought Prince Aaron was going to let this little old woman come in, but he didn't. He said, no. And she warns him again. She said, please let me in. She's really begging him, please let me in, please. He says, no, I will not. Suddenly, the little old lady turns into this beautiful enchantress. She's like a witch or a fairy. She's beautiful, got long blonde hair. She's got 2 eyes, and she's beautiful blue eyes. He looks at her. He's like, oh. She looks at him. She says, because, Prince Aaron, you wouldn't let me come in and stay with you, now I curse you. For 10 years, you shall sit here and you shall wait for years until you learn to love, until someone loves you back. She turns him into the beast. So he was handsome, he was tall, he was elegant, he had beautiful clothes, and suddenly he's got rags, he's wearing shreds, he's running around like an animal. He is a beast. And of course, all his servants got turned into things also. One guy got turned into a candlestick. And the cleaning lady got turned into a duster. And the lady that serves the tea got turned into a teapot. And the guy, the chef that cooks, he got turned into a stove. Like everyone. And the guy that also does all his wardrobe, everything for his clothes, he got turned into a closet. So all his servants in the whole house fell. It was beautiful and white and bright with colors. It suddenly turned to black and darkness. And for 10 years, the beast sat there. Didn't think anyone would ever love him. He just sat in his castle and became more depressed. And he ripped up all his old photos with him being Prince Aaron. He was so upset, he gave up. Until one night, an old man came knocking on the door. He was lost. It was dark. It was stormy and rainy, similar to the night when that enchantress knocked on his door. But this time the beast didn't answer the door. This time the servants answered the door, but one was a candlestick and one was dressed like a clock. They opened the door and they let the old man in. And the old man came in, and when he came in, he saw the fire warmed up. He saw a chair. Not only did he see a chair, he saw a dog. It's like, wow, there's a dog here. Then there was Coco. He said, oh, wow, there's Coco. He drank the cocoa. And he sat there by the fire, and they put a blanket around him, and he just sat there. He's like, wow, what a nice place to stay. Suddenly, the beast came in. Who's in my castle? I smell you. You dirty old man. He picks up the old man. The old man's like, hey, I was lost. Please, don't hurt me. I have 2 daughters at home. Please, please. He takes the old man and throws him in the dungeon. The old man is gone in the dungeon. Meanwhile, his daughter's back home. She's like, where's my dad? I haven't heard from him. Suddenly, the horse the dad was driving runs back to the house where Belle is. Belle sees the horse. It's like, hey, where's Daddy? The horse kind of looks at her. Just making this big noises. Then he throws his hooves in the air. And Belle, almost like Belle could talk to the horse. And the horse could talk back to Belle. And so the horse says, you know what? You have to take me to him now. So she gets on the horse. She puts on her cloak. And they giddy up and they go into the forest. Deep into the forest. Way into the forest. Finally, they find this old castle. It's old. It's covered in vines. And there's trees all around. It's a really run-down castle. Looks like no one's been doing the gardening there. So when they pull up, Belle's like, this is where my dad is? Wonder what's going on. So she walks in. It's dark by the time she gets there. She walks in, and the candlestick guy says, hey, this could be the girl that's going to break the spell. She says, hello? Hello? Where's my father? So the candlesticks, they start lighting the way. So they light each area, each part of the castle. So she follows the light, and the light takes her downstairs, deep into the dungeon. So every step she takes, there's a light. Goes down another step, there's a light. Goes down another step, there's another light. Another step, there's another light, and another light. Leads her to her, and she's like, Dad? Papa? He's like, Belle, what are you doing here? She finally finds Belle. And Belle is, of course, startled because her dad is behind in a dungeon. He's in jail. And she's like, what are you doing here? And he starts coughing. You got to get out of here. It's this beast. He's horrible. She's like, what beast? Why is he here? Suddenly the beast shows up. Who's at my castle? And he sees the girl. He's like, and he's hiding in the shadows because he's like, I'm scared. I don't want the girl to see me. So he's in the shadows hiding like, you can't find me. He's like, Belle. He's like, girl, what are you doing here? She's like, come into the light so I can see you. And she's like, no, I'm not coming in the light. You need to get out of here. This is my castle. It's not until you release my dad. Release my dad now. I don't care who you are. He says, I will not release my dad. He trespassed here. And he had no right being here, drinking my hot cocoa and sitting in my chair. Wait a minute. You put my dad in jail for drinking hot cocoa? How dare you? Well, your dad had no business being here. This is my property. All right, I'll make a deal with you. I'll stay here. You let my dad go. So the beast says, all right. She says, come into the light so I can see your face. He's hiding in the light. He comes out. And she sees this big, tall, hideous-looking beast. And she's like, she backs up. She grabs her dad's hand. Her dad's like, no, Belle, what are you doing? Don't do this. And the beast grabs the father, pulls him out of the dungeon, and yanks him and throws him into a carriage outside. And she's screaming. She's like, Daddy! You got a chance to say bye to Daddy. Oh, God. Beast says, "Hey, come on with me. I'm going to take you to a room." So he takes her upstairs to this room, beautiful room. She's talking to, of course, the wardrobe. And the wardrobe is actually a person. The wardrobe is actually the closet. The closet's like, "Here's a beautiful dress for you to wear to dinner with the Beast." And she's like, "I don't want to have dinner with the Beast. He took my daddy away." And she's just crying and screaming. So eventually, later on, she ends up having dinner with the Beast. As time goes on, they have dinner. They become friends after a while. Only because the Beast saved her life. They were out in the woods. Some wolves approached her, and he jumped in and rescued her. So the wolves were trying to bite her, and the Beast jumps in and saves her. After that, they become friends. Later on, the Beast takes her to the library. There's this huge library full of books, and Belle loves books. That's all she does at home is read. She loves to read. So she sees this huge library full of millions and millions of books. He says, "Honey, it's all yours." She says, "Thank you, Beast." And he says, "Well, Belle, I sense that you're happy." She says, "Well, yeah, but I miss my dad. I wish I could see him." And so he says, "Okay, you can go visit your dad." So she goes home to visit her dad. She gets home to visit her dad. The whole town is ready to come after the Beast. So he's like, "Wait a minute. What are you talking about?" And the dad's like, "Yeah, I went to the town, the mayor. I told everybody in town about the Beast that the Beast has you." And she's like, "But the Beast has been nice to me. He's gave me books. He feeds me dinner. We sing songs. We hang out with his dog." His dad looks at her like, "What? Just a couple days ago, I was in his prison." And she's like, "Well, I know, but the Beast is really a nice guy. He's really not that bad." She's like, "Were you crazy? This Beast is crazy. He wants you to stay there with him forever." He says, "No, he doesn't. He let me come home to see you." And he says, "Well, the townspeople are on their way now to go kill the Beast." And so Belle says, "Oh no, we've got to warn the Beast." So by the time she gets there, it's too late. The townspeople are already shot arrows inside the Beast's neck and in his back, and he's hurt. She walks over to the Beast. She's like, "Stop." She's screaming, "Stop the fighting." Of course, all the townspeople are upset. And guess what happens at the end? You think she saves the Beast? He misses her. He's already told everybody that he's in love with her. Only she hasn't said it yet. So when the Beast is laying there in her arms, got arrows in his back and he's getting ready to die. She holds his head. She's like, "Please don't die. You're my best friend." And he says, "I have to, Belle. Thank you." And he dies. And she says, "Please don't die. I love you." As soon as she said that, the whole spell is broken. The whole castle changes from dark to white. There's rainbows, there's unicorns. The pool is even clean. The pool was dirty and muddy. Now the pool is crystal clear blue. And everybody's jumping and screaming. Even the servants are happy. They've all transformed. So the clock is now back to being a regular person. And the teapot lady is now a regular person. And the chef that was turned into a stove is also a regular person. Even the wardrobe slash closet person, closet lady, is now a regular lady now. And everybody that was a clocks or candlesticks are now regular people. And they're dancing, they're happy. They're like, "Yay, we're back to being humans again. Thank you, Belle." And she's like, "Huh? What?" She's looking around at them. Then suddenly the Beast turns. He transforms. His whole face, which was this Beast with the hair and the bush, he turns back into King Aaron. Now he's a king. And he's got long hair. He's got a nice beard. And then he got some regular clothes. And he gets up. He's like, "Belle, it's me. I'm Prince Slash, and now I'm King Aaron." It's like, "What? King Aaron?" She's like, "Yeah, it's me. Will you marry me?" And she's like, "Sure, I'll marry you." And they hug each other. And the next day, they have a big, beautiful wedding. They invite everybody from town, despite the fact that everyone from town tried to kill the Beast. The Beast forgives everyone. Well, he's not the Beast anymore. Now he's King Aaron. They crown him king, and they crown Belle Queen Belle. And her father also decides to move into the castle with them. And they all lived happily ever after. Beauty and the Beast. And that was Thursday's story. So I will see you all tomorrow for Dragon Boy. Dragon Boy. Dragon Boy. All right, you guys have a great Thursday. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Deuces.